Hello, scholars. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to convert volume and capacity in customary units. To do this, we have our friend here, Gallon Man, to help us. Many of you have probably seen Gallon Man before, but if you haven't, this is kind of what he looks like. He has a big square in the middle, 4 smaller squares, 8 smaller squares, and 16 of the smallest squares. Each of these represent a measure of unit. So this first big one here, this is a gallon. That's why we call him Gallon Man. The 4 small blue squares represent quarts. So we'll put a Q in these squares. The smaller green shapes here, they represent pints. And you'll see that each quart has 2 pints. So we'll put some P's in here, just so we know. And then these smaller ones, you'll see that each pint has 2 cups coming off of it. So each pint has 2 cups, each quart has 2 pints, and each gallon has 4 cups. And this will help us to convert from cups to pints to quarts or to gallons. So let's try this. If we have our Gallon Man here and we want to see how many cups are in a gallon, we could simply count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. But what we could do, but to use a multiplication problem or a number sentence to figure this out would be a little bit easier than counting. So if we think that we have 1 gallon and we multiply that by the amount of quarts we have, which is 4, and we multiply that by the amount of pints each quart has, which is 2, and the amount of cups that each pint has, which is 2. We'll find that we'll do this one first, and then 2 times 2 is 4, then we'll multiply that, and that equals 16. So each gallon, 1 gallon, equals 16 cups. Now let's try a word problem. Polly had 2 quarts of lemonade. How many cups did she have? So if we have our quarts here, our blue, we have 2 of them. So 2 quarts times how many pints each quart has. Each quart has 2, so we're going to multiply that by 2, and then times how many cups each pint has. Each pint has 2, so we're going to multiply that by 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, and we multiply that by our last 2, and that equals 8. So 2 quarts equals 8 cups. And to verify that, we can count. So if we have 2 quarts right here and right here, let's go to our cups and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we are correct. Let's try another one. Amelia has 8 pints of pink lemonade to sell at her lemonade stand. How many cups does she have? Well, our pints are these green shapes, and she has 8 pints. So let's do 8 pints times the amount of cups each pint has. Each pint has 2 cups. So we'll multiply that by 2. That equals 16. So 8 pints equals 16 cups. And we could count these to make sure. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pints. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 cups. We are correct. Let's try another one. Charles has 32 individual fruit bags that have 1 cup of fruit in each. He wants to know how many pints, quarts, and gallons he would have if he mixed them all together. This is a big problem, so let's separate this. The first thing we need to do is see that we have 13 individual fruit bags, but they have 1 cup in each. That means we have 32 cups of fruit. So let's figure out our pints first. Now, since we're going from cups to pints, we have to divide. So we take 32 cups. If we take the 32 and divide it by the amount of cups each pint has in it, like this, we'll be able to figure out the answer. The first one is pretty easy. 2 times 10 equals 20. So we'll subtract that, and that gives us 12, and 2 times 6 equals 12. That means that in 32 cups we have 16, because we add this together, we have 16 pints. Now, to figure out quarts, we do the same thing with 16 pints. So if we have 16 pints, we're going to divide that by the amount of pints in each quart. And since there are 2 pints in each quart, we'll divide that by 2. Well, 2 divided by 16, see, if we do 5 times 5, we have 10. That leaves us with 6, and 2 times 3 equals 6. So we'll subtract that, and that leaves us with 0. So we're going to add 5 and 3 together, and that gives us 8. So we find that 16 pints is 8 quarts. Now, to find the gallons, we're going to do the same process. So we have 8, and we're going to divide 8 by the amount of quarts in each gallon. And remember, we can see that looking at Gallon Man here, that each gallon has 4 quarts. So we're going to divide 8 by 4. And 4 times 2 equals 8. We'll subtract that, and that gives us 0. So we find that 8 quarts equals 2 gallons. So Charles has 32 fruit bags with 1 cup of fruit in each. He has 32 cups of fruit. He also has 16 pints, and that can be converted into 8 quarts, and that can be converted into 2 gallons. And that's how you convert units of measure in the customary units